Blessed is everyone that feareth thee, I am, that walketh in his ways. For thou shalt eat the labor of thy hands. Happy shalt thou be, and it shall be well with thee. Thy wife shall be as a fruitful vine by the sides of thine house. Thy children like olive plants round about thy table. Behold, that thus shall the man be blessed that feareth thee, I am. The I am shall bless thee out of Zion, and thou shalt see the good of Jerusalem all the days of thy life. Yea, thou shalt see thy children's children, and peace upon Israel. Psalms chapter 128. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have swayed the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me and my seed forever, that we go not astray henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, those of you on this beautiful day. We thank God for you and you this beautiful Sabbath day. You have 2 Sabbath days. 3, you have the Gregorian calendar where people just do it on Saturday. Then you have the Ashkenazi days, that is the new month. They go by the new month, but their new month is on the 4th of September. Then you have the new moon, which is on the 2nd of September, that evening of the 2nd September. So you want to count that evening, and from that evening you want to go 7 days. In other words, it would be evening to the next evening, and then the day after, then that evening, the following Gregorian day. It's not complicated. It just gets you mixed up by what the other ones have put in your, should I say, routines. This is what you've learned from a child, so it's understandable that you would probably get this wrong, or maybe you might sit up there and you might say, well, what's going on? They have a new moon app on Google Apps and the Apple, should I say, for those of you who have iPhone, that app store. They have a moon app. It has a moon on it. You'll see a gray looking moon, a black and white, so sort of like picture of a moon. And it will give you the true moon. And then also on that time, you can test it by just going outside on a clear day, on a clear night for the new moon, and see if this is true. When you just see the peak of the moon coming out. And it will tell you also the degrees in which the moon can be seen as far as in the sky. It will tell you all these things. This is what they watch for. And you'll notice that even the full moon, which is appearing at the half part of the month, appears when it's supposed to. Usually 15 days after the new moon, there is what? The full moon, give or take. But that's the way it goes every month. God's calendar. That's God's calendar. We've lost it. He gave it to Israel at the beginning, the month of Abib. And you can tell it by the seasons also. When the new months and when the new years happen. The new year happens in the seasons when you see the flowers budding and all these other things. So pay attention. God wants you to go by his calendar. He wants you to go by the calendars that he's created, which is what we call nature. There's no mother nature. God is nature. Man made all this stuff up. All these things we have, this gender thing and all that. This has been made up by man. And now it's getting even worse because the times are getting nearer. In other words, for you to ignore all the rest with all these things they have and all these, if you believe God, believe God. You believe his statutes, ordinances, commandments, and laws, believe God on that account, and you judge everything by that. But if you're going to believe all this other hype trying to take you off to the left and to the right, and you can't look forward to see God, which is his laws, commandments, statutes, and ordinances, these things are going to catch your eye anyway. But when the law is in your focus, although these things you might see them in your peripheral vision, you still look forward. You keep walking forward. Because God is before you, not on the side, not to the rear. God is before you. He leads you. And the spirits of the Most High lead you That's whom he delegates authority to lead you. So therefore, we do not worship angels. We do not worship days and months. Only that which is given us by the Most High. And most likely, all those things that we're given are also celebrated in heaven. The Passover celebrated in heaven. And there's going to be another Passover. There's going to be another day of deliverance. A day where we shall praise God in all things. That we shall give him the glory. And that we shall cause, a praise to ring out throughout the eternity toward God and just give him the glory because he has delivered us. Oh, it seems like nothing when you're in the flesh. It seems like nothing. Seems like death on this hand. We're afraid of the pain and the suffering that we might go through in order to die and get rid of this body and shed it and die, bid this old mean world goodbye. But the fact is, it is what God has for you is before you. It's before you. And soon you're going to walk into it. Just keep going. Just keep going. Because it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. The wicked are going to get more wickeder. The deceived are going to be even more deceived. Because signs and wonders are going to happen throughout the heavens. All these things. It's going to happen throughout the earth. Men are going to increase in knowledge. Men are going to get things. They're going to seem as though they're going to be God. Because of the technological advances that have happened. God has given these things for to happen. He's given these things for it to happen. But then when the Most High begins to show off and show out, then all those things will be nothing. See, they even got their fears put even when they made the movie X-Men. Their fears have come to light. Men having powers that should not be. The government should have these powers. The police should have these powers. The military should have these powers. No. God has those powers. I'm sorry for your inconvenience. But yet, God has those powers and he gives them to whom he please. Your power is superficial. Your power can be manipulated. Your power can be destroyed. But one thing about God's power, nothing can destroy it. And he's going to prove these powers that he has power over fire, power over time, and power over even your weapons of mass destruction. He has power over it all. I'm just not talking. He has power over it. And we shall see Yasharal and peace upon the children of Jacob. Yes, we shall see. Now in the book of Joshua, Oshea, not Joshua, Oshea or Joshua, the book of Joshua, the book of Oshea, we're still in chapter 22. Yes, chapter 22. We're going to call this chapter 22a. This is the last part, and we ended at verse 33. The last time we were around, we ended at verse 33. So this is where we are. We was really way down there, weren't we? I didn't think I had got that far. Or were we before that? Okay. We were somewhere. We'll start with 28. We'll go back to 27. I'll try this. No, 22. Well, we were at 21. I think we were at 21. I was reading it. I know it had a bunch of. I was just into it and I marked it and I forgot about it. My mark. But anyway, verse 34. We're still talking about the lands of the Levites. The lands of the Levites. We're talking about the Levites' inheritance. This is basically what's happening, after God even gets us into that point where we inherit the earth. He's going to give his people kingdoms. You're going to rule over the Gentiles. You're going to rule over the wicked. You're going to rule over them. There's still going to be some here. But that's just for them to witness what they could have had. Those that are in the place where Enoch pointed out until the time that God gets ready to just throw in the pit, the fiery pit or the pit of torment, however you want to put it, the Satans and all those angels that have followed them, even the watchers. He didn't say nothing about the devil and his angels. No. They got names and everything else. People just don't want to acknowledge that, and many of you are still brainwashed to that point. But the fact is, they all have names. They are Satans. You have watchers, you have the Satans, you have devils, you have demons. Even the demons, we know who they are. They are the spirits of the children of the watchers, according to the book of Enoch. These are the demons that roll about possessing and doing all kind of stuff. I mean, a lot of them. Excuse me, my raspy voice. But either way, yes. And now we're in chapter, I think it was 34, yeah. Now, because we ended in a number, 3 cities, 13 cities with that. Now we're in 34, yes. And unto the families of the children of Merari, the rest, you've read about him even in these 66 books. The rest of the Levites out of the tribe of Zebulun, Jokneam with their suburbs, and Katah with their suburbs, Dimnah with their suburbs, Nahalal with her suburbs, 4 cities. Her would mean what? She nurtures. Cities nurture. Yeah, they do. They nurture. You know, you get jobs. In the city, you have a concentration. This is why you got so many ministries people that would like to build their ministries, or Christians, preachers and everything that would do these miracles and all these things. You notice they can't be in small towns. Somebody figure them out because everybody knows everybody. But they mainly go to these big cities. I want you to note that. Note and investigate the big ministries that occur in the big cities, because this is where the money is. If I have 1,000 members and they all give $10, how much do I have? I got some money, man. If they all give $50 or $20, 1,000 members, just 1,000, and it's way more than this for many of them. That's a lot of money for one person or a few people. And then you still have some left to pay for the building and all this other stuff. See, then you wonder where the money went. And they're going to lie. They're going to give you all kind of stuff. Just like a person I knew, you know, man makes money and he's giving it to his spouse, and next thing you know, you wonder why you get behind on some bills. Then you take it away and find out that, hey, I can catch up my own bills. Find out what was this person doing. But either way, it doesn't matter. Now, and out of the tribe of Reuben, Bezer with her suburbs, and Jahaza with her suburbs, Kedomoth with her suburbs, and Mipah with her suburbs, 4 cities. And out of the tribe of Gad, Ramoth Gilead, her suburbs, and to be a city of refuge for the slayer. That's the person that they were doing something and somebody wasn't thinking it was a safety feature, and they did not pay attention, and they got demised while this person was doing their job or duty or whatever have you, and they told them not to do this. But the family gets upset and starts to say, well, we're going to get it. But then this is why Israel really didn't have no use for prisons. Because if the person did do anything, you were deleted pretty much instantly. Once you have under the advice of 2 or 3 people. But the fact is that the law states that if the people that accuse you and you were demised by that people, then the fact is that if they accuse you and you was found not to have done that, evidence came that found that you did not do that, or demise or delete that person out of malice, then the fact is that those accusers will be right then and there, based on the evidence. They'll be deleted. I don't care whether it's 2 or 200 or 1,000. God did that stuff too. God did it. Now, and out of the tribe of Gad, Ramoth and Gilead with her suburbs, to be a city for refuge for the slayer, in Mahadmaim with her suburbs. Heshbon, 39, verse 39. Her suburbs, Jaza with her suburbs, 4 cities in all. So all the cities of the children of Merari by their families, which were remaining of the families of the Levites, were by their 12 cities. And the cities of the Levites within the possession of the children of Israel were 48 cities with their suburbs. Now this is scattered throughout the whole land of Israel. So how can you have the 12 tribes chart? Give me a break. And the cities were everyone with their suburbs round about them, thus were all these cities. And the I Am gave unto Israel all the land which he sware. See, God kept his promise, which he sware unto their fathers. And they possessed it and dwelt therein. Now, this is where, God said, you do it. Now, some of these places, they were too scared and had too much doubt. They feared the people more than they feared God. See, this is where a lot of our faults are. We fear people more than we fear God. We fear death more than we fear God. We fear our families more than we fear God. We fear our wives, our children, our friends, our social status, our leadership status, our political status more than we fear God. So they didn't go against what God had told them to do, to wipe it all out. Oh, you get one of those liberals. Oh, you're doing children, you're doing little babies and all this other stuff. God told Canaan to get out. God did not play with him. He did not smile. He did not blink. He did not wink. They knew the lots that they had. Canaan was warned. God said, I'll visit the iniquity upon the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generations. That's what he said, didn't he? And this is what happened here. The iniquity of Canaan, because he decided, I don't care. I'm taking this land. Nobody live here no way. And they all warned him, don't go there. They warned him. And this was really, it was a prophecy of Noah toward Ham for his child. God knew this because God had a plan anyway. Some of you would say, well, why God do this? Why do that? It doesn't matter. He's God. I have no qualms about that. But I understand and I know him in this aspect. I understand. This is why it's so important to read these extra books that the heathen did not canonize. So what gives them the authority to say one book is holy and one not? It's a great thing that God had used them to even preserve what we do have. But now they come to the point and says, oh, that's not right. This is not right. Okay. What's your authority? You ought to let the person choose for themselves. Now, and this is what happened. And the I Am gave them rest round about according to all that he sware unto their families. And there stood not a man of all their enemies before them. And the I Am delivered all their enemies into their hands. Rest. Listen, Jacob. Rest. Rest from Jim Crow. Jim Crow hasn't stopped yet. Many of you are still being demised by law enforcement. Many of you are still being in this political systems all over the world that just hate your skin. And your skin is one thing. They have a law where they accuse you or excuse you. One of the two. And they'll mostly excuse their own with that law. Or they'll make up another law just to excuse their own or accuse you. So these things are there. I'm talking today. Yesterday is an example. Today is today based on that example. Yes. Well, many of you probably used to my alarm there. But either way, the thing is that they make up laws. These laws, they have changed the times, the season, even with the Sabbatical laws. They've changed it. The people that call themselves by the name of Israel, they still change the times and the season. And those that call themselves all type of names from Christian to Islamic and all these stuff, all this stuff is after the law of Moses. They've changed the laws and the times. Therefore, deem them false. God goes by nature. He created nature. Nature is his seasons and his times. And when it's time for God to come, when it's time for God to do his thing or do what he says and promise to the earth and the wicked and to those who would keep his laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances and laws, he's going by that time, not by yours. If he says after the second Sabbath and you wait till after the second Saturday, you lost, brother. Sister, you lost. But yet it turns out to be on a Thursday. The Sabbath turns out to be on a Thursday. Why would God do something like that? No, it's not God that's confusing. It's they confused it. Israel been going by this. From the time that they came out of Israel, the month of Abib was the start of that calendar. And the month of Abib, when it started on the new moon. See, some people don't care for the books of Joshua, but yet they talk about them all the way through the Old Testament, even your Benton Bible. They talk about them, Joshua, Jubilees. I mean, Enoch. Jubilees only mean 49 years. 49 years, is a Jubilee. Okay? It's a time to be freed. But your time for Sabbath is very important. Very important. I mean, how you deal with the Sabbath is according to how your surroundings are. But the fact is, Sabbaths are very important. Do the best of your ability, whether you're in prison or whether you're somewhere where they work 24/7, 7 days a week and all this, and you're trying to make a living. God is not going to take you from that. You're in captivity. You ought to hate this stuff. You ought to get so full of the ways of the heathen that you hate it. That to the point that you get to the point where you say, I don't care whether I live or die. It's not, I don't like this. You begin to pull up and do what you have to do so that you might obey. Even Moses, they got so tired of the things of what they have done. And Moses said, hey, that we might go and sacrifice unto our God. Many of you have gotten so lackadaisical in the heathenistic systems. These bias, should I say racial, systematic racism. You so used to it. You got to the point, you got Stockholm syndrome. If it don't happen to you, something's wrong. You go giggling in the faces of people that hate you and look at you as a joke. Look at what they do to Africa. They didn't take the Sahel as seriously. But once the gold stopped, once the oil stopped, once the uranium stopped, the gold stopped, then they start, these black folk mean business. No, they're tired of your mess. That's what it is. After thousands of years, the children says, enough. Enough of the puppet leaders. Enough. Even here in the United States, our puppet leaders who are led by people that are nothing. Greed, and the whole system is based on oligarchy, ran by oligarchs. And they do not care about the private citizen at all, regardless of what color you are. They don't care about you. All they care about is their children, and then they can continue on their empire. That's it. By using what you have. And then one comes out and says, oh, the earth is too full. But who made this man rich? Who made this man to have money? The beast rose out of the sea. See, this is what they're using. They're using allegories. This allegory here, you created these beasts. They got you used to what they do, and now you think it's the norm. They got you used to phones, you think it's the norm. They got you used to everything. You cannot do without them, or you will die, or you'll think you're dead. I mean, the enemy can come in many instances and he might not get some of you because you might have that metal web around you to keep these things that block the internet transmissions off. But for the rest of you that think, oh, they, you're dead. You're dead. You will have no internet. The world is ran by computers. Most of you, even with your crypto technology, that will be dead. You will have no money. That's why it's good to invest in gold, silver, even some copper. Copper is worth something too. Gold, silver, and copper. It's okay. Yes. Precious metals. You know, copper is just, the only reason copper is so cheap is because it's readily abundant. It's the cheapest thing, a penny. But still, it adds up. And the fact is, in the old days, what did they base their money on? These same metals. But they were measured by weights. See, your shekel, all these, they were measured by weights. Now they put them on a useless piece of paper and say, oh, we'll back it up. Now, here you find out your government has spent it all or took it somewhere and somebody has it, saving it for a rainy day, and all they do is print paper to you. And they trade by that, and everybody thinks they're rich until that great day comes when it's all your electronics, all this other stuff is gone. And you have nothing. But those who have gold, silver, and precious metals, they're going to be okay. Because they have something on a basis. If they say, if I give you this, it's promised to get you something else that you want. But $1 on paper, it won't be promised to get you anything else. Nobody going to give you a loaf of bread for $1 because it's nothing. Now, you give a little small slither of gold, yes, you can have this, man. Here, you can have a few loads, maybe a whole truckload. Because we're going to measure it out by weight. Gold is weight. Silver is weight. Copper is weight. All these precious metals are weighed by weight. Let's get wised up. Let's get wised up. It all can be ripped out from among you either day. And then you still got thieves that can break in and take what you have too. But what is more sure? That which you can hold in your hands. Not that floats around in data bits. It can be deleted. Look what they did to Social Security to show you about this stuff. This stuff is to set you up. Social Security, yes. Okay, the numbers, they got them. Then they're going to come out maybe about 5 years, 10 years later. Well, we have to establish a system whereby we have to use this certain method to identify people so that we do not have. And then they're going to have another law where the police identifies you. They're going to take a blood sample or fingerprint or all this other stuff. You won't have no ID card. So these things will happen. Or they can happen. Be on your toes. Be thinking. Everything in government that was quoted by Theodore Roosevelt is not by chance. It's not by mistake. It's carefully planned. Everything. Not only this government, but every government is planned. And you are the commodity. And with that, peace.